But just the feeling of being on the water, there's, like we said, just the feeling of, like if something did happen. Anyways, so really, there's not a lot of communication. It was just kind of a nice feeling.
They have it.
So, I mean, but like if something burned down, I'm like, well, we're 3 days from home anyway, so. Right, not. Might try to go on another one yet this year.
Longest minute of the day.
I know, right?
959.
Push your button again. This is the longest.
No.
No, I didn't prepare it.
Oh, I bet it is.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock. Would join me and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have JJ is online with us today, and Steve Holland is, and he's absent, and it's an excused absence. So we're gonna call the meeting to order, and we will start with the public forum. And I see that we have people here and we have people online. So why don't we start in here? Doug, did you want to speak to that? Okay.
Hi, my name is Doug Bleckner. I'm the mayor of the city of Bruno, and I would like to speak to consent item, I think it is number 4, about the Bruno recycling sheds. Every time I've been to those sheds, they're packed full. I mean, unless it's the day after or the day that they emptied them. They're used, so there's no question that they're being used. The other thing is, I made a few phone calls before I left today. There's a lot of people that really like them because they're open 24/7. On Sundays, it's a nonstop line of people going in there to do the recycling. A lot of people are not happy with the sandstone because the hours are so short and it's really hard for them to get in there. I got that this morning from some of the people. We got a lot of businesses that use them, the bars and stuff that recycle a lot of stuff. And I just think that if our whole point here is to promote recycling, having fewer places to recycle is not the point. I mean, I think we should have more places. I understand that it's a money issue, but for the amount of money that you're going to spend per year for the next 5 years, I think it'd be a really good thing to keep the Bruno sheds open. I mean, they're used. I mean, I could see if they weren't being used, if they were empty and they weren't picking anything up. But when I go in there, those bags are overflowing just about every time I'm in there. So anyway, that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
I see we have a couple people online. Jeanette, I'm gonna call on you next. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I basically, I agree with that.
I'm sorry, can you give your name so people know who you are?
I'm Jeanette Swenson. I'm the Bruno City Clerk.
Thank you.
And I agree with Doug for the same reasons he brought forth to you. You know, we serve a very big area in Bruno. They come all the way from Nickerson, which is already like 14 miles. And so if you close ours, you know, they're going to have to drive 25 miles to recycle. And all these townships around us, Bruno, Park, Fleming, they all use the Bruno recycling shed.
Thank you. Is there anybody else online that would like to speak at public forum?
Madam Chair, I would like to speak, comment on Mayor Bruno and Jeanette's
Okay.
comments.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
JJ.
yes, to the mayor of Bruno, did the county or a county representative reach out to you at all to let you know that this was going to be considered today? Anybody from zoning or solid waste, or were you notified other than?
Doug is here and he's saying no.
No.
Okay, so I guess to the board and I guess the other commissioners, what do we do to make sure that these cities and these townships get notification when something like this is going to happen in their area? Is it somebody's responsibility at the county? I imagine when this bid was received, there was some discussion at the employee level at our county that there was going to be some changes that are going to drastically affect not only the city of Bruno, but like the mayor of Bruno had mentioned, there's, adjoining townships, adjoining cities. I'm sure Matt up in the Carrick area and some of your areas are going to be affected by this also. There isn't any policy or anything in place that these people should be notified?
JJ, I'm going to stop you. You've got some really good questions and we'll be having discussion on this later. So let's hold those and let the public speak right now and then keep those because they're good questions to ask. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak? Who's online? No, okay. All right. Well, thank you for those who have spoken. I appreciate it. We're going to adopt our agenda. We do have some additions to the agenda.
Madam Chair, members of the board, it's additional information. So the items are on the agenda. There's just some additional information for regular agenda item number 2, the pay equity report, and then regular agenda item number 7, the fourth quarter 2022 budget.
I will move with the additions of the information.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
I'll second.
Thanks, Josh. So we have a motion and a second. Debbie, can you call the roll call on that, please?
Yes. District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lundgren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. And then can we have a motion to approve the minutes from January 3rd or if there's any additions or corrections?
I'll move the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, so we got Josh and JJ. Debbie, can you do a roll call, please?
District 3, Commissioner Lundgren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
So I did not say that included the summary. Was that part of the motion, Josh, that would include the summary for publication?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. JJ, are you okay with that second?
I will second it again. That sounds great.
Thank you. You're good. Okay, so minutes of the boards, we've got committees and correspondence.
There's none.
There are none. Then we will go on to the approval of the consent agenda.
I'll move that.
Thank you. We got a motion by Matt,
I can second.
second by JJ. Debbie, do you want to do a roll call, please?
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lundgren.
Aye.
Thank you.
Right. Regular agenda, we've got the Personnel Committee report.
I'll take that. We met on January 9th. I'll just go by department and want to do them all at the end for approval.
Yeah, please, that'd be good.
Health and Human Services, we acknowledge the resignation of eligibility worker Andrea Nordberg effective December 16th, 2022, and approve the backfill of that position and any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. In the Sheriff's Office, we acknowledge the resignation of Deputy Sheriff Troy Griffith effective January 14th, 2023, and approve backfill of that position and any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. In the Sheriff's Office dispatch, we acknowledge the resignation of part-time probationary dispatcher Joshua Gusk effective December 15th, 2022, and backfill a position and any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. Acknowledge the resignation of full-time probationary dispatcher Tanya Kessler effective January 3rd, 2023, and request backfill of that position and any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. In the sheriff's office jail, we ratify the termination of part-time probationary corrections officer Tyler Keene effective November 9th, 2022, and approve backfill of the position or any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. And acknowledge the resignation of corrections officer Kyle Miller effective January 12th, 2023, and approve backfill of the position and any vacancies that may occur due to lateral or internal promotion and lateral transfer. And all the rest of the stuff is information only. And I will move those, Madam Chair.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Debbie.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lupgren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next on the list is the pay equity report. Which I buried. You wanna? Okay.
Jackie.
Oh, thanks, Jack.
Hi, good morning, Madam Commissioner, members of the board. I'm Jackie Cuevisto from Human Resources. And I'm here today to present results of 2022 pay equity report. Just a little bit of background. Minnesota law requires all public jurisdictions such as counties to eliminate any gender-based wage inequities in compensation and to submit all reports to Minnesota Management and Budget every 3 years. Information is submitted regarding job titles, job evaluation ratings, and salary, and jurisdictions must pass 4 tests to be in compliance. The 4 tests are the completeness and accuracy test, statistical or alternative test, salary range test, and the exceptional pay service test. So I'm happy to report, of course, that we have passed all of the testing and we will be ready to submit our 22 report to the state.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
So we need to have a motion to accept this information.
Yes, and then once you've accepted it, then we can file the report, which is due January 31st.
Thank you. We have a motion.
I'll move the pay equity report.
Josh, a second.
I'll second.
Okay, thanks, ma'am. Got a first and a second. Can we do a roll call, Deb?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lupgren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
So I sit in on a committee and they're afraid that they did not pass the pay equity reports. This really is good news. Congratulations and thank you for all that you do. So now is one of the fun things to do here. We get to consider appointment of Mindy Sandell as the County Veteran Officer for a second 4-year term.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Becky Ploss. I'm the Director of Health and Human Services, and with me is Mindy Sandell, your county appointed VSO. And we are here today to request Mindy be appointed for a second term starting February 5th, 2023. I cannot believe it's been 4 years already since Mindy's been in this role, but really wanted to take a moment and just sing her praises. She does an amazing job. She has a passion for the work. I can hear her talking to veterans when she's in Pine City, and just how she interacts and the way she interacts with people is phenomenal. And not only does she have the passion for the work and do the work, but it shows in the statistics with the growth in the number and percentage of veterans receiving services through the federal government. So I just want to thank Mindy and request that she be appointed again for another 4-year term.
I have to say I'm biting my tongue because I've known you for so long that, it's kind of fun to give smart aleck comments, but I'll behave. No. So can we have?
I will, Madam Chair.
All right, we got a first by Matt.
I'll second.
Thanks, JJ.
And I would like a comment too.
Oh, please.
Because I just hear so many good things to reinforce what Becky said from veterans too. And I know you do the extra mile and meet them when they can't make it into you. And I've heard all those stories. So thank you
Okay. Oh, you're welcome.
for not forgetting them.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. You have a good heart for our veterans and you've got a compassion for them. And that's what we really need in this place. And I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you.
So a roll call.
District 3, Commissioner Albrecht.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldau.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Hi.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Hi.
Thank you.
So now we are on the Pine County Residential Recycling Contract. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Kelly Schroeder, County Auditor Treasurer. Caleb is online as well. He wasn't able to be here in person today, so I'm gonna take this and then he'll fill in with questions and things. So literally right after you guys approved the 2023 budget, I walked across the road and Caleb said, I just heard from the recycling contractor and they don't want to renew the contract. And I said, oh, we just approved the budget thinking they were going to approve it or they would renew. So that set in motion a request to get some quotes from local garbage haulers and recycling contractors. Caleb had some good conversations with other haulers than our current vendor. However, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we only received one quote in the end from Cloquet Riverside Recycling, our current contractor. Knowing the budgetary constraints, the contractor submitted a 2-option proposal. The first was to continue the services as it is today. However, the price tag on that was $120,000, nearly $32,000 over what we had just set the 2023 budget at. Or they gave a secondary option, which was to actually close the Bruno site. And that would bring our budget right on target. Bruno is our only unattended site. It has a lot of garbage that we actually have to pay the recycling contractor separately to take. I know it's, as Doug said, the buildings, the recycling there is full, but it's still a smaller amount than the other sites. But yet it does serve a very large rural population. And so it's a decision before you all, if you want, which option of the contract you'd want to take.
Madam Chair, could I?
Question? I have a question.
Yeah. Did the request for quotes that the county released offer eliminating any sites, or was that proposed by the vendor?
That was proposed by the vendor.
Thank you.
Knowing what our budgetary constraints were.
I have a question. So do we know how much we're spending on what the garbage is costing?
I can give you a good idea. At least through November. Through November of 2022, just over $3,500.
When did our contract run out or when does it run out?
So it ran out December 31st.
Okay.
So we did a quick 1-month deal with them to continue on, so that we didn't have any discontinuation of service. And so the contract before you would be starting February 1st.
Okay.
And then they wanted to lock it in for 5 years.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just a clarification, the contract didn't run out. The vendor elected not to renew because it wasn't paying them any money.
Right.
So they in essence canceled.
Yeah.
And we only have one vendor. So is it a deal breaker or he just wants to add the 30? He just wants that 31,000.
So the cardboard market used to really carry these recycling contractors. In the cardboard market, the bottom fell out. And so with that, to make him be able to do it, he would need to raise it that much in order to make it ends meet for him.
It's understandable. So,
Sorry.
Jeanette Swanson from Bruno sent me an email this morning, and I guess one of the concerns that she had is that The majority of the things that we're closing are from up north. So, you know, that northeastern part. So you've got Nickerson, Duquette, Bruno, Carrick. And so that was her concern, is that we're closing everything up there and making it harder for the citizens up there to do it. So it just is a consideration. I thought that was the point.
Well, I got a few things I got a few things if I can, Madam Chair. I guess one of my concerns, as I already stated it when we were speaking to the public forum portion, is this would have been nice if the smaller communities would be notified further ahead of time that this is going to be going on in their community, so they have an opportunity to be part of the solution and figure out what we have to do. I don't want to see any services lost. Myself personally, I agree with the mayor up there. He's got a closer watch on everything up there than we do, of course. And I guess I am just kind of scratching my head here now. I don't want to speak for Josh, but myself, I deal with a lot of cardboard, and I have a cardboard recycling bin that I've had since 1995. I didn't hear that the cardboard market fell out. And as far as I know, I don't have my paperwork personally in front of me for what I deal with business and recycling, but I haven't been told of that, and my services haven't been affected at all. So I was just wondering if there was any follow-up on that, and if there could be. And is there a chance that another recycler, another hauler could be brought into this to see if they want to just take care of Bruno? Maybe somebody close in the Moose Lake area that already handles some of the outlying areas, like Nordstrom Sanitation. Is there anyone else that could just handle that separately? Has that been looked at?
Thank you, JJ. So I'm going to let Caleb answer the cardboard recycling question. However, at this point, we didn't want to make any decisions, and so we had not reached out to anyone on Bruno specifically, because the quotes we requested was for the whole package. So Caleb, if you want to take the cardboard.
Yeah, well, I will speak to the one. I think to reach out to local communities, I think that is a good point. And I agree with you that would have been a good additional step. This has not been fun over the last 5 years, as we have eliminated many of the recycling sites, and to field those calls from local communities that don't want recycling service to be reduced, because we all agree that we want recycling service. It's been a challenge at what cost, you know? So we've tried to kind of toe that line. As far as we're in a difficult place for soliciting contracts for recycling, like Kelly said, we received one bid, and there just aren't, I believe there is only one solid waste hauler in Pine County that markets recycling. So any other vendor that might haul will have to work through yet a third party before it would get marketed. So there's not a lot of opportunity to get creative in that way, unfortunately. So as far as the cardboard, I did sit in on a call with Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, coincidentally very close to the time that we had this conversation with Cloquet Riverside Recycling, and they shared slides showing market price declines that kind of mimicked what our recycling company was saying. So it seemed there was some validity to it.
Yes.
Is it possible that the cardboard market can come back? So they could, like, it's baled or bunched, right? Can they hold it dry for a while and then, I mean, is this what I'm getting to? Is this something we could take a month or two? Is this guy willing to give us time to, and if we just have to pay, and then if something changes, we figure it out later? Or do we have to have this done by February, or what's the deal?
You want to take that, Caleb, or do you want me to take it?
Sure. I discussed that with them about how it's, when there's so much fluctuation in the market prices, it's hard to react to market downturns and then kind of get stuck with this, either losing sites or an elevated contract cost that now when market prices turn up, we're kind of in a bad position. But one of the things I guess we do have the ability is if that is the case where recycling becomes more profitable, more lucrative and there's more competition, we have the ability to exit this contract. There's a 3-month notification and we can exit and repost for open it back up for quotes or bids.
So I have a question. If we keep Bruno, it's $31,881 over budget. Where would that money come from?
Well, I could think of something right
Question.
now quickly.
What are you thinking,
can-
JJ?
Well, maybe we could just take some from the library,
I don't think that we really, are
shift
you
it over,
talking,
shift it over there.
which library? Are you talking the public library or our law
Yeah,
library?
the East Central Library.
Yeah, I don't think.
What
that
was
we
it?
want to. I don't
We
think we
pay
want
them
to go there.
100,000. We pay them 100,000 more than the state requirement.
Right, and that's to keep our libraries open. So I think that's the issue with the libraries. You take it away, then people are going to lose their libraries, and there's a lot of people that utilize that. So, but we can consider that. But are there any
We
other
have our,
options?
My answer to
ARPA?
that would, oh, go ahead, JJ, sorry.
well, is there still a remainder of the COVID ARPA? There's funding available there. And then didn't this affect the cardboard and all the other recycling areas? Did it affect Hinckley? Did it affect Sandstone? Did it affect Pine City?
It affects their overall service in Pine County, and where there's that revenue loss from actually marketing the recycling, that's where the contract increase is being, that's why the contract increase is being proposed.
And my proposal of where the funds would come from is, I would suggest maybe not reacting at this point of where do the funds come from? We have a tendency of ending the year in a good place and doing budget adjustments in December once we can see how everything shakes out. So that would be my suggestion of just know that in December, we're going to have to do a budget adjustment of $31,000 and likely at that time, we'll be able to identify a better source.
Question. So if we just, I know they want a 5-year contract, but I think this would warrant maybe a little bit more discussion by the county board. Hopefully the full county board is maybe a recycling, take a look at it again. And I know we did it in the last few years. We've kind of looked at a few different options, but if we could just kind of trudge forward, maybe in what we're doing right now, till we can get kind of an option, because I realize you guys were hit with this a couple weeks ago. And trying to figure something out. It is hard to reach out to every local organization. And it is a substantial amount that would have to come before the county board to continue. So it had to come before us. But I mean, my kind of suggestion is if we can maybe talk to these guys and say, can we just move forward till we
1 year? We do a 1 year?
Well, even 6 months or something, so we can sit down and just look at some options. Maybe, I mean, personally, I would think for 30 grand, how many people live up there? You could put a can in front of every house, for that kind of amount of money and just do door recycling or something. And we've talked about that in the past. I think you ran all the numbers to see what it would cost to subsidize recycling in the whole county. And if anybody wanted it at their doorstep, I mean, I can't imagine anybody would argue rather throwing it in a can outside their house than drive to town or something like that. 24/7 recycling, it's right there at your house. You don't have to put something in your vehicle. But maybe that's just something, it's getting to the point where maybe we do have to revisit that again and look at maybe a better solution all around. Not just Bruno, but for everything.
Right.
He's still picking up the cardboard here, right, Sandstone? And that thing is packed.
Correct.
It's full. So there's no cardboard issue there. So is the issue the garbage?
No, so in cardboard, I mean, that was the reasoning of the increase, but he's still picking it up. It's just that his end profit is a lot less on it.
So but there's no complaint about closing into the other ones. Is it because it's so closer together and it's because he travels or, I mean, I don't get why he's taking one.
Is nicely on his route. However, it just comes down to it's unstaffed, there's garbage, it's a lot more work.
So is the garbage.
Not just the garbage, just the way that it is set up.
It's got to make ends meet at the same time.
Madam Chair.
Pushing it over the edge.
David?
So the reason he proposed it was he's very attentive to the county's need to stay within budget, right? So if budget isn't the issue, right? If it's an important service that you want to keep funding, I think Josh was giving a direction that seems like if they're willing to extend it for a temporary period, is that 2 to 6 months? Give the county board a little more time to evaluate options, whether the cost is worth it, whether there's other ways to save. That seems like a way to do that if that's what you want to do.
Yes, my other question was if we do a short-term agreement, because I think a lot of us are looking at Bruno and thinking that it's important to have it there. If we did a short-term and did a committee of the whole meeting to discuss this and to get some more direction, what would it take to cancel that contract with them? And you said that we can get out at any time, but if we found a different source or a different way to do this, what would it take?
So we executed the contract as it's written today. It is a 90-day notice, Caleb, is that what it was?
Correct.
Okay. So if we did, okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Nope, I say let's go for that. I'm totally willing to give it, if they'll agree to
So are you saying keep Bruno on there for now?
Yes.
And then,
Yes.
and then discuss it?
I
Okay.
think we're all kind of getting hit with this for the first time.
Right, right. Well, I think you guys got hit with it for the first time too. So, thank you for bringing it to us and,
And that's what I would say. I'd make it clear that, this isn't something you guys been working on a year and just sprung it on us. It was just kind of, they got hit and they had to figure something out.
Right. JJ, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I can add with what Matt said and with Josh both. Yes, we just can't close this today. We need more time. And then also, I guess I would like to see something going forward, something solid. Caleb mentioned it as an additional step to notify these communities when something like this happens. I guess I would call it a first step, that when something like this happens again to any community, any city, any township, they're the second that gets to know right after us, to involve their local government to see through this and try to, come to a good solution that's good for all. So any community needs to be notified immediately.
I think that these employees would, I think that they would agree with you and that would be their first step normally, but like they were saying, they just got hit with this too. And so, I think it was kind of a quick, let's figure out what to do and get her done.
Yeah.
So, but we're giving that option. We're giving that option now for the local entities to figure out where we can, and I know these local entities and they will help us, right, Doug? Yes, okay.
Okay.
So can we have a motion then?
Madam Chair, can I just make one more comment on that? Things like this happen every day.
Yeah.
We do not know in advance what a thing like this is that will help. And so that's where, as soon as we got notice from the hauler that they were going to cancel the contract, this was right before Christmas, right? There was a note that went out to all the commissioners that said, hey, they're canceling the contract. We're going to have to figure something out. We need your help to know what your communities are going to want or need or think are issues, right? So that you are a key player in keeping that relationship, because you're in your communities more than we are.
Thank you for.
Well, yeah, I don't think we're blaming, it's just the way it happens, right?
Yeah, but I think every staff person in this room has things that come up every day that could be this type of issue, right? So I appreciate, and I rely on commissioners to help guide where we put our emphasis.
Yeah.
So can we have a motion?
I will move that we continue as is for whatever we can, 3 months, 6 months, and give us time to figure it out. And if they're willing, I'm even willing to say, if they go for a year contract, we can do it for a year too. And then
I would second a year, like Matt just said. I would go a year.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we go for a year if they're willing to. that, you know, it's gonna have to come back, because I don't want to lock in for 5 anyway.
Well, and the way it's set up, right, it's an up to 5 year with a 90-day cancellation.
Okay,
So if you just approve it, you have a 90-day cancellation provision that you can exercise whenever you want.
So then we'll approve it, keeping Bruno on.
for a year.
And JJ, you seconded that?
Yes.
Okay,
So it's a 1-year contract and not a 5-year contract with the cancellation.
Well, I think we're still gonna have a negotiation, but we're gonna be, it's gonna be weird to.
Right. But
We can do the 90-day thing too,
Can-
whatever.
just to clarify, so your desire is to approve the contract and then maintain conversation about maintain service at Bruno,
Yes,
and then maintain the conversation about how to maintain the service at Bruno.
and we have to deal with that, of course, yes.
so if we did a 1-year contract versus a 5-year contract, after the end of 1 year, can they increase that price more, or is that locked in at a 5-year?
Within the contract, there is a provision that is by the Midwest CPI, so the Consumer Price Index, and that was the same in their previous contract.
Okay,
However, with the change in the recycling market, unfortunately, it wasn't going to be.
Okay, so I'm hearing a 1-year contract.
I like Dave's version. We'll continue the contract as is, and we have the 90-day notice.
JJ, you good with that?
Yeah, Bruno's not losing their service for a minimum of a year until we discuss this more and
Right.
figure this out, correct?
Yes, yes. So your second, so we're gonna continue the contract as is with Bruno. And we have a 90-day cancellation policy on that. So we can research it, we can take our time, we can do what's right. And then we have 90 days if we choose to cancel it, that we can cancel that contract.
Yeah, he will be getting paid what he wants, and we would be the one that would invoke the 90-day.
So you still good with that second?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Matt and JJ, and then do you want to do a roll call, Debbie? Thank you, Kelly and Caleb.
District 4, Commissioner Waldam.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lövgren.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
You got there.
Did, now we get to hear from Leslie on Hometown Fiber. Is it Leslie?
Yes.
Yes.
Leslie is online.
There she is.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Leslie Stoddard, your Economic Development Coordinator. Thank you for letting me join you remotely. On your agenda today is a request to enter into a service agreement with Hometown Fiber, which you'll recognize that is the same firm that we use to do our broadband assessment. But we are bringing them in for something a little bit different, but well within their wheelhouse of expertise. Just to kind of give everybody a historical background, Pine County received a community development block grant through the coronavirus funding to install broadband infrastructure. It was close to a $3 million award. And over the course of the last almost 2 years, we've been working through the administrative process to get the funds released to us. And last summer, as a board, you guys noted that SCI Broadband is the sole provider in the area from which we applied and received the funding. And now we're ready to move on to executing our service agreement with SCI Broadband. And as part of that process, when they start installing the fiber and the infrastructure to serve the households, much like a road project or a building project, you want some field expertise to go out and inspect what's been done to assure that what you're spending these funds on is what's being put in the ground. So we reached out to Hometown Fiber to see if they would be that expertise out in the field to essentially inspect SCI Broadband's work. So they are proposing to do that for a 5% total cost of the 5% of the total construction cost. And that proposal has been attached. Fortunately, with this grant award, we also get administrative funds. So the total cost will just be refunded by the grant. Any
So then there's
questions?
no cost.
Well, not directly to the county, no.
Nice. Any other questions for Leslie?
I have a question, but I don't know if it's Dave or Leslie. So when we have 430,000 roughly for administrative part of this project. Is there gonna be more things that we would hire an administrator for besides this? So are we
Yeah.
just using 140 of it?
We have used some of it to conduct the first level environmental review. And we did that through Hometown Fiber and their partnership with Bolton and Mink. And we've also hired LHB to be the architects for the Place for Use shelter retrofit. So we've tapped into some of those administrative funds to get those professional services.
Okay, so this is this the what we have left in our fund, or is that what we started with?
That is what we started with.
Do we know where we're at today?
Roughly, yes.
Yeah. So
I mean, I'd have to,
we're sitting good
Yes.
with that. Okay.
yeah, we're not getting too close yet. They gave us enough so far.
All right. Thank you. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just trying
No,
to
you're not.
understand. Yeah.
And Madam Chair, on the video is also Kyle and Marlena from Hometown Fiber, for those who don't know them.
So are there any other questions for Leslie or for Hometown Fiber while they're on?
Thank you, Leslie.
It's exciting to see it moving forward.
It's been slow but steady.
So we need a motion.
Yes, please.
I'll move the professional services proposal.
Gosh,
I'll second.
thanks, Matt. So we have a first and a second. Debbie, can you do a roll call, please?
Excuse me, District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so then we'll move on. We have a letter of support for a four-lane feasibility study for Highway 23. And I like that JJ had them add to the letter of support that we would like to see them continue going from Mora to Hinckley. And we look forward to that, as we just had another severe accident where there was a death on Highway 23 this past weekend. So we know that it's a bad stretch of road, and it's exciting that we have this possibility to get things fixed. Anything from, okay, anybody have any questions on this letter of support or?
No, I think this has been in front of us a few times, so I'll move that.
Cool, thank you, Matt.
I'll second.
Thanks, Josh. Debbie, do you want to do a roll call?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if you
Yes.
could take one comment on the Highway 23 Coalition. I just learned this morning that their annual meeting is scheduled for the 24th of April in Mora. So it's very close at this end. And it is on the commissioner calendar.
Yeah, so Pete Stauber is going to be the guest speaker, which will be really good.
Yeah.
So, all right, and then we will move on to the 2022 fourth quarter budget update.
Madam Chair, members of the board, at this point, just try to summarize how 2022 ended. There is a 90-day accrual period, so all of the numbers are going to change. We think they're all going to change positive, right? When the auditors are done with their work and the accrual period is over, we think that the county will have ended 2022 with more revenue than expenditure. So that's very positive. With, of course, the noted exception that we had some planned spending of reserves. And so the first chart just shows expenditure and revenue by major funds. So the general fund, HHS, and road and bridge. Expenditures and revenues are all under 100% budgeted. So generally that's positive. In some cases, you see where expenditures are above revenues, like in HHS, that's to be expected at this point in the year because those revenues are typically reimbursements that lag a little bit. So overall, everything looked pretty good. Chart 2 looks at the general fund and then the departments that tend to get a lot of department level revenue. And this is all percentages, so it's not gross, totals. You'll see that planning and zoning pops up really high. There was a $97,000 grant for the Kettle River 1 Watershed 1 plan that did not show in the budget. And so it's just over budget primarily due to that. Everything else is looking as we would expect it. The recorder is a little bit above due to the tax and CAMA system. Sheriff's office, little bit above. And if you look at the graph, it looks like they just hit it, but they're just a little insurance, auto insurance and overtime were tough last year. And then the government buildings, that's primarily increases in utility costs, but nothing that, and I'm sorry, I jumped ahead to the next graph. So the revenues look fine. The expenditures, where they look like they're a little above are the tax and CAMA for the recorder. And then, as I explained on the sheriff and the government buildings. And then the truth and taxation one is kind of interesting, small numbers overall, but there's a new law that requires a specific by jurisdiction document go into the truth and taxation notice. And so the printing of that was several $1,000s more than was typical and was not in the budget. And then the last graph, HHS, kind of where we would expect to be at this point in the year, nothing surprising. Overall, I think it shows that the budget for 2022 was realistic and that the county managed within the resources available. And then just a couple of notes I included in the agenda request. Donations for 2022 were a total of $136,000. In the Mille Lacs Corporate Ventures, the casino contributed 92,000 of that. But even without that, there's a lot of people in this community who donate money to the K9, to the drone, to some other programs. And that's just, you see those every meeting where there'll be a few donations, and I just asked Kelly if she would total those up to remind us of those. And then just a check on the sales tax, we're running about 20,000 above 2022 through November versus the same period in 2021. So, I mean, overall, I think we hit budget. I think when the audit is done and you get that report in like July-ish, September, it will say, you know, that we hit budget and that we did not overspend.
That's good.
Anybody have any questions for David?
No, thanks, Dave.
We don't need to do, this is informational, correct? Okay. So we're going to go to commissioner updates. We've got East Central Solid Waste Commissioner, which would be Steve, who's not on today. The regional library, actually I talked about the libraries possibly having Narcan at our last meeting. And one of our residents reached out and said, do we really want that at the library where the kids are at? And so I brought that and asked to have that placed back on the board agenda. And we had a really good, long discussion about it, about the pros and the cons of having Narcan at the libraries for the public to come and get. We know that we need it for the librarians. I guess one of the stories that came out was, I think it was the Mora Library, where some guy came running out of the bathroom saying, call 911, he's overdosing. And so she quick called 911. And by the time the police got there, the guy had already gotten up and left the building. And he said they must have given him Narcan in the bathroom before they came running out and said to call 911. So, you know, you think about those things and the need to have that where it's accessible for people to get when they know that there might be a situation. But then the question is the library really the best place to do that? So that's going to be continuing to be discussed. Yep, it is. Yep.
Do they have an AED in there?
Yes. Yep. Yep. And that was what they've been saying is that they give all of their librarians a choice, whether they want to have one or not. But all of the libraries have that. And then they haven't gotten to the point with the Narcan yet. They're still looking for studies. There's the nasal and then there's the shots. And Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, is the nasal is like $40 more than the shots. Does that sound about right?
I don't know what the cost is. We haven't really dealt with the cost since we did the source for it. So nasal is a lot easier to get. You don't have to worry about fighting costs. So
yeah. But she's thinking because of the cost that it will probably be shots. And so we'll have to see how they feel about that. But they said it's just a tiny little needle. So anyways, that's the conversation's going to continue. That was a big part of our meeting.
Does that come in the same way? I haven't heard about that. So it's like if somebody has an allergy, that it's an automatic shot?
I think so. I think
Can't
so.
through the pants or anything?
Jeff,
I'm not aware of it being like the pens where they do the automatic dosing. My only experience is that that's what the ambulance carry because it's cheaper and they can.
Oh, yeah, well, they're IV or they can do shots. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Don't know what the process is.
I'll let you know when we find out more. Well, but okay, so this is going to be gifted to the libraries to hand out. It's through a company and I can't tell you the name. But it's going to be up to them what they get because of the cost. It's huge. I want to say it's $40 per dose difference if you do, and the needle is like an EpiPen, so it's just a little needle. But if you do the needle versus the nasal, I think it's $40 difference to just have to hand out to people. So the librarians might just have the nasal. I don't really know. We'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah. Hopefully it's just, yeah.
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 The state of the band address, Steve and I went to Mille Lacs Band over in Mille Lacs Lake at the casino for their state of the band address. And I just have to say how impressed I am with the things that they're doing and how they were talking about. We have a mental illness issue that's going around and people are dealing a lot with that. And they just got a federal award for a program that they're doing with their girls where they bring in leaders and they bring in people to teach crafts and just to uplift them and talk to them about how important they are and that they can do anything. And out of all the tribes, they got the federal recognition on that, which is so impressive. And just some of the other things that they've been doing for their membership, which in all reality leaks into our communities. And so it was really fun to be there and to hear what they're doing and how they're doing it. And it's very interesting.
I know, I've always enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was just amazed at what they do. Blue Zone meeting, Steve and I went to that also, and that was really good. There's been a lot of controversy on it. I know Matt heard some and I heard some. And so some of them reached out on Facebook just saying, oh, this is a horrible idea. And so I challenged them to join us at that meeting and they did.
Good.
And so like John was there and they asked some really good questions. But I think that a lot of the theory that's going out on that is that we are going to set a policy here at the county board saying you cannot eat meat and you cannot eat eggs and you cannot do these other things. And that's not reality. So it was really good for people to come out and hear that we designed this for what's best in Pine County. We'll be getting the study soon. It was really good to talk to the people from Blue Zone and talk to them about our communities and what we need. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that keeps moving forward too and what we can do to help our residents. So Soil and Water Conservation District.
Yeah, the chair is Jerry Telker, vice chair Kelly Henry, secretary Doug Odegaard, treasurer Dan Benzie, public relations Mike Cummins, and everything else is business as usual. I got a copy of the minutes. If anybody wants a copy, I could forward it to them. It's pretty uneventful.
Okay.
We got our tree order stuff in the mail. That's good. Thanks.
State Community Health Services Advisory Committee. Okay, Chemical Health Coalition. That was another good meeting. It was here I should probably actually look at my notes, huh? The sheriff's report since 2021, there was 57 overdoses, 6 were fatal. Or was it fentanyl? Can't read my writing. Or the 6 were fatal, and then or out of 39, there were 2 that were fatal. And as of 5 a.m., there was another fatality that day. There were 109 overdoses with kids statewide. The opioid settlement, we just got another 87,000, which if you looked at the treasurer's report or Kelly's report, it shows that money coming in. So we've got a nice balance there. So we're close to 80,000 that we will get per year. But then we're looking for suggestions on what to do with that within the restrictions that were given. But if anybody has any thoughts, I'm sure that Haley or Sam would really appreciate that information. Kevin is putting on another Fishing for Kids that's going to be coming up this summer. And so looking for kids to join on that. Any kid can join. So you don't have to be in trouble or on probation, which is nice, getting our kiddos together like that.
Thanks for going to that. I couldn't make that one either.
Yeah,
It's gone, yeah.
it was good. There was a lot of really good conversation. That's all that I have in my notes. So I hope I didn't miss anything really good. I was talking, when we were talking about fentanyl, and in Stearns County, they had 16 overdoses that were fentanyl related where people had passed away. So, I mean, it's interesting to put those numbers together with our numbers and see where we're at.
I have another.
Matt. Well, I was with you on another, I think, so, but I couldn't.
I'll be real quick.
Yeah,
So I'm on the
Probation work week
yes.
committee down at AMC. Well, the Health and Human Services, like Freeman,
Matt.
you know him?
Yep.
Yeah. So he chaired this meeting, and the meeting was info meeting, not a lot of input, but just went through data.
Mhm.
And it was with public safety, Health and Human Services, and public health. Because we're all working for something this legislative session. And of course, mental health comes in, and we all know how there's a group out there that self-medicates and all that kind of stuff and causes problems in all three systems. And it's all of it, plus the probation reform and who deals with it. And no place, no beds, the whole topic. So it was just data. And it was like overwhelming data. So they finally shot me the slides.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But anyway, it was good. And I'm glad that they're, you know, it would be like one sheriff's department never talking to another one right next door when you have stuff going back and forth. So, and I think that's really good that they're doing that. And I'll leave it at that. Because we have a meeting next Monday with so.
I was in on that meeting too, and one of the things that they had talked about was that there are 50, and correct me if I'm wrong, I sent Matt a text and said, I can't take notes. Can you take notes? Did you get my?
I took lots of notes.
Yeah, I saw you writing, so I thought we're good. But one of the things that they talked about was mental health with kids. And they had said that there's 50, an average of 50 beds that are needed for the extreme mental health in kids per year. And I thought that's a lot. For the state of Minnesota, that's
Our
a lot.
statewide number of beds is not very big.
No,
They gave that number. I'm trying to remember.
no. And so that's a big push, is trying to get the state to come up with more beds. So that was a really good meeting. I liked that one. I have a couple others. I sat in, or does anybody else have any others? No? Okay. So I sat in, Snake River Watershed was presented to Bowser. And so I sat in on that presentation and got to speak on how awesome our staff is. Our staff has done so much work, and they've put up with a lot of stuff. And so just to be able to talk about that, and they did, Deanna did the presentation from Kanabec County, and she did a great job. SHAC, we had a SHAC meeting, and Extension is, there were some really mega surveys sent out to our counties, and Sam did ours, I believe. And she was saying that it was quite a challenge because it was huge. And Extension is reviewing all of those surveys done by every county. Every county actually turned it in, which is miraculous. And so hopefully they'll be able to figure out where all counties can go so that you're all treated same. It doesn't matter where your zip code is, we're all going to be treated the same, which was exciting about that. We did not get to meet the new Department of Health Commissioner. She wasn't able to be there, but we did find out that they are looking for this system. One of the big steps that they're looking at is system transformation. And they were asking for $40+ million in the biennium for this system update. And they think that the state's looking at 36 million. So then they're trying to figure out what to do with that difference, because they really need the 40+ million. So we'll see where that ends up going. That's what I've got. Anybody else? All right, we've got our upcoming meetings. And I will adjourn the meeting. We're good. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Is it nice there, JJ?
Oh, it's always nice.
You blurred it. We can't see. We didn't get to watch waves today.
All right. Next time I gotta get back to work. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Yeah, you as well. Bye-bye.